Welcome to One-on-One with Expert Flyer. I'm your host, Lisa Caslin. And today we are getting a different kind of view from 35,000 feet. Our guest today is Heather Poole, and she is a longtime flight attendant and a New York Times best-selling author. Hey, Heather.
Hi.
So how are you doing out in California?
Oh, I'm doing great. It's
Good.
Still morning here.
Yeah. Good for you. All right. So we wanted to kind of, get inside, I guess, the attitudes and the perceptions of flight crews to kind of see, well, what are you thinking about us, passengers, and maybe how can we behave better so that everybody is happy when they're flying, right?
Okay, sounds great.
Yeah.
So I would just say that, let me just start by saying that 99% of passengers we love. It's just like there's that one or two problems. And then those problems just seem to be humongous problems because you're confined in a tube in space
right?
for 12 hours. Yeah.
I know. Well, if someone were to ask you, me, what the most unexpected thing a passenger has ever done to you, what would that be?
Well, I would say at this point in my life, because it's like different points, different things, But at this point in my life, it would be like when somebody comes and pinches my butt, and then you tell them, you scold them, and you say, "Go back to your seat," and they do. They go back to their seat and they comply. So you're like, "Oh, that's great, wonderful," but then they come back and do it again. That's a little bit of a shocker. But like early on in my career, it would be like somebody stealing my blazer, and
oh my God,
or my breakfast. I leave out a McDonald's sandwich on the galley counter, and then somebody just comes and takes it because what's mine is theirs, even though it's not. Just because like what? You just ate my egg McMuffin? That has happened. And but for me, so this is like, I know this the strangest thing for me, which will not sound that strange, was when people ask me to borrow, if I have dental floss they can borrow. Because it's just like, to me, I'm thinking, what other job, where else in the world would you go and ask an employee if you can borrow their dental floss? I mean, that wouldn't happen anywhere, that you feel so comfortable that you would want to ask me if you could borrow something out of my toiletry bag, my dental floss.
It's true. Do you think that over the years there's been a change in terms of the training that you've had to kind of, mitigate conflicts with passengers? Because this seems like, right, doesn't it seem like there's so much more volatility with passengers today?
Yes. Oh, my goodness, yes. Yes. So first of all, in the airline industry, even before things were escalating very quickly, the thing about the airline industry is it changes so quickly. So like, for my job, 1 year to the next is completely different job. So when a flight attendant who hasn't flown in 10 years does an interview and talks about the flying, it kind of bothers me because it's like, you have no idea what I'm dealing with. It's nothing like what you were dealing with. So don't compare how nice you were 20 years ago to how rude flight attendants are today, because it's a completely different game. I guarantee you, did you have handcuffs in your bag when you were flying? Or did you have like little white gloves? Like, it's a totally different job now. But what's interesting and great about it is that we get initially 7 to 8 weeks of training at a major carrier. And then every year we go back for like we call it like recurrent training, and it's about like 1 to 2 days. And so, and what happens is they update everything. So, and if something happened, and we call it an incident, if there was an incident in the news that was bad, we'll talk about that. They'll make videos of the crew who was involved, and the crew will talk about how it happened, how it went down, and their feelings on it. And then you hear it from every perspective on the plane, which is very interesting because it's a completely different story from a different angle or a different cabin. And then they'll talk about what they wish, or what didn't work, like what part of our training doesn't work. And then the airline will actually change the procedures, whether it be a medical procedure or evacuation procedure. And a really good example of how things have changed would be our evacuation procedures, because we learn commands that we have to learn verbatim. and we yell them out loud. And over the years, it's just become very, very simple. And now they're so simple. It's kind of funny. I'm like, how can they change them again? You cannot but what we say, I'm not even kidding. Every other line is leave everything. So it's like, unfasten your seatbelt.
I'm so glad that you said that.
Come to the front, leave everything. My son was like 5 years old, or maybe not 5, but he was very young. He comes into my room because he heard me practicing. And he comes in my room and he says, why are you saying leave everything all the time?
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? Nobody listens. So we say leave everything every 2 seconds.
Well, it's funny because do you remember that incident that happened several months ago with the Aeroflot flight? And there was tons of pictures in the media of the passengers that were able to thankfully escape from the burning plane, and they had luggage in tow. Yeah. And it kind of made you think, well, why did they make that decision? And had they left the luggage...
It's just like, people are just so, they have these like blinders on, and they just think that it's all about them, and what they do, no one else is going to do. They're going to just grab their bag really quick. It's all about them. Meanwhile, there are 160 other people who are thinking the exact same thing, and they all do it. And you've got, when they create evacuation drills, or they have an airplane, a new plane, they have to prove to the FAA that they can evacuate the people within, a certain amount of seconds. Yeah. And I think it's like 60 or maybe 9, but it's very short. I mean, are they taking it when they do those planned evacuations? Is everybody grabbing their bags? Probably not. And that slows people down, and people don't understand, like, it's not just them. It's every single person who thinks that their Louis Vuitton bag is more important than anyone else. So, yeah. And it's so frustrating. And long ago, maybe 20 years ago, my friend was in an evacuation. And this is when people listened, when most people left their stuff. And she said that by the time the evacuation was over, you're supposed to check the cabin, make sure everybody's off and nobody's unconscious. You run through. She said there was a wall of luggage that she grabbed from people and threw back that she couldn't even walk because it was just a wall of luggage that she had collected and and created, took it out of their hands. I mean, probably today, 20 years later, you wouldn't even be able to get that luggage out of someone's hand. No.
All right, so let's talk about slightly more, nefarious intentions. Let's say there's a passenger, and you may be suspicious for some reason or other. How do you kind of confirm your suspicion without causing alarm or danger to passengers? What do you do when you think somebody's up to something?
Well, I mentioned that we have those incidents. We talk about incidents and what's going on. And one of the more interesting ones was Richard Reed. Remember him, the shoe bomber? And when I remember everybody in that video, every flight attendant in that video said, I got this really weird feeling about him. But nobody said anything to anyone else because you just think it's just me, Now, like when I have a passenger that's giving me a really weird vibe, I purposely make a point to ask all my crew members, like, what do you think about that guy? Are you getting a weird feeling? And if everybody says they're getting a weird feeling, we are all like, we pay attention and we have things to do. But if maybe everyone's just like, no, it's fine. I might like drop my guard a little bit. Like maybe, I don't know. But if I'm, feeling it very strongly, there's a lot of things we can do. And one of the things we can do is we just walk over and engage. We just have a conversation. Mm-hmm. And you can learn a lot about a person. So if they come on board and they just got into a fight with their loved one and they are holding a lot of tension inside, or maybe they're scared to death to fly and I'm reading the signals wrong. Like I'm reading whatever they're giving me wrong, or maybe, somebody died, or maybe, but I've, and there have been times when I've talked to somebody and I still get a really crazy vibe. And then I've been on a flight where the whole crew just had their eye on one person. And, we were even scared at one point, but we just, what can you do? And at one point he got up with his, McDonald's bag and went into the bathroom, and I was like, oh my God, why is he got it? But we were all just very aware and but engaging in conversation is the number one thing, because you then can feel it out better and more clearly. And
do you ever speak to the sky marshal?
Well, yeah, because they introduce themselves to you when they get on the plane. We have to know we have to know who they are and where they are in case, like we don't get confused and say, if something were to happen and then they were to pop up, we need to know who's on, who's doing, everybody needs to know whose team everybody's on, and where they're sitting and what's going on. Yes.
Okay. So,
but we don't call them out. We try to, help them blend in.
Yeah. No, I guess I meant if you were really concerned, would you have a word with the Sky Marshal and have him,
Yeah, I would. And I have, I'd be like, okay, here's the deal. And maybe in private, or I might send them a note. But but their job is really just to protect the cockpit, and that's it. They're not gonna just pop up even if there's a fight. They're probably not gonna pop up and say anything
themselves.
Because they have one job.
Yeah. Okay. Good to know. So what do you wish air travelers had a better understanding of before they fly?
I mean, a couple of things, maybe. Like I can't go poof and make bag space appear, and it's not a personal attack against anyone when their bags don't fit. No, I kind of wish that people took a little more care of themselves, like took a little more responsibility, and I know like people get angry. Like I already can feel like people going, I already know the comments, but like bring water, like buy the water when you get through security. I always buy water, whether I'm working or not, because diversions happen, delays happen, and then we run out of water, and then it's like you have nothing. I have so many, like I pack like I'm camping. I have like snacks that don't expire, just in case. So that, because I've actually been on a flight where we were delayed 5 hours and then with weather and then diverted and another, and I'm crawling on my hands and knees in a cart looking for a nut for myself. I'm like so hungry. I'm going to go eat some trash, because these things happen. And when I used to travel with my son and he was a baby, oh my gosh, I used to pack like 20 diapers and a ton of formula just in case, because what happens if you don't have it? I mean, the airplane, these flights are, double catered. And I know you don't know what that means, but like we're catered for 2 different flights in a row, so they don't have to pay catering. And so all this stuff is just crammed in there, but it's not all ours to use. And, there are a lot of carts we can't touch, and we only have like a tiny bit of stuff. And then, gosh, when something goes wrong and we don't have any food and people get hungry and thirsty, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
To, take care of yourself.
Of course.
And to arrive early, so that, because when one thing goes wrong, it all goes wrong.
Yeah.
And then by the time you get on the plane, you've already had the worst flight of your life, and you haven't even taken off.
Right.
Yeah.
Agreed. So is there any kind of tips or tricks or, ways of getting a better seat, anything like that, based on your, vast experience flying that maybe someone else could take advantage of?
Be nice. I mean, I know it just sounds so simple and unbelievable, but people are so wound up and angry that when somebody comes on board smiling and says hello and actually says hello and looks at me at the same time, I'm almost like, whoa, thrown off. And I find myself like just drawn to them, and I just want to give them everything, because it's just so rare for somebody to make eye contact and speak to you at the same time. And so like, it's the nice person. It's gotten to the point where it's so bad that nice person that actually speaks to you just it's like this diamond that just sparkles, and I'm just like, here, take some water, take some more pressure. If I have it, I'll give it to them. And I've actually seen like if I see another passenger helping a passenger with a bag, I mean, in my heart, I'm just like, oh, and he's amazing. I wish I had somebody to fix him up with, because it's like, I never see that. And then I want to, if there's something I can do, I would do it for them. But if I don't do anything, it's because I truly don't have the tools to make that flight better, because it's just, with the airlines doing everything they can to cost, to save money and all the cost cutting, it's just, there's only so much I can do too,
I know.
So
I know. All right. Well, listen, it was great talking to you, and let's give them the name of your book, Cruising Attitude, in case anyone wants to take a look, right? And they can just Google that. They can go to your site, right? HeatherPoole.com.
Yeah. There's another Cruising Altitude, but mine is Attitude: Tales of Crash Pads, Crew, Drama, and Crazy Passengers.
Yeah.
That's
Cruising
Attitude. Don't get confused.
No. And you're working on your second book, and we will
I am. I need to work a little faster, but yeah, I'm working on it.
Well, we can't wait, and we want to have you back when that's all ready and good.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Heather. Good talking to you.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.